Greetings, everyone. We've got a few, the faithful few that have come out on Thanksgiving Eve that just can't quite put down the business to be thankful just yet. But this could be the time. So those
What?
last couple of questions, and then you're ready to dive into Thanksgiving. Eh? Is that
I
it? Of
I took
course.
the day off, so I'm good.
Very good. Yeah, and of course, then there's some um, who are not in America, who don't need to be thankful. Um, so, like me, it's already Thursday here. So, uh, but I'm glad we can connect. There's quite a few people. It's more than I thought. It's good, Heather. Um, so, Heather, have we got questions that are put in there yet? Or
Yeah, we actually have one. This is from last week. This happened after the call.
okay.
But Jeffrey wanted to know how to make the sidebar wider.
Ah, yeah, you can't make the sidebar wider. Um, so you can make it whiter, but you can't make it wider. Um, yeah, so it depends on the. That's it's one of those things that if you have a look at the different themes, the sidebar is a different width on the different themes, and so that would be sort of my recommendation. And this is one thing that we've talked about a little before is creating your own sort of sandbox for each um, for each one of the themes, right? So everyone, mostly here, everyone has the equivalent of Obvio Pro, which gives three organizations. Three organizations means that you could have one organization that was just your little, sort of playground, where you can set up one event for each one of the different themes, and then play around with that and see the differences between each theme, and then you would see that there is uh, the different sizes of the sidebar. Yeah, cool.
Mhm. All right. So the next one is from Ed. He said, I'm having problems on my purchase page. I accidentally deleted a picture and I'm having problems re-adding it.
Okay. Um, would you like to share your screen, Ed, and we walk through it? How would you like to do it?
Absolutely, I can share my screen. Um,
Great. Let's do that.
I think I hit, there we go. Okay, so on my purchase page, um, there was a picture here,
Okay.
and I accidentally deleted I was trying to delete the picture and replace it with a different picture, and instead
Right.
I deleted the block, and I
Okay.
was able to add it down here, but I
Okay.
can't get it up here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. So just hover over that picture again and just see the two lines. Like, yeah, that. Click on.
So when I
Oh
click
no,
on
is
those
that
two lines, it disappears.
not ideal, is it? Let me have a
And
little
I,
look at
I,
that.
I can get them back if I refresh my screen.
Let me have a look here. I'm just having a look as well. Yeah. Okay. So it is a
Oh,
slight bug. Yeah. There you go. I was just so I actually
ah,
just did that. So um
cool. Awesome.
so so the functionality is actually working there, but when you click down on the button, it's disappearing. But it is actually in drag mode at that point. And so
Ah,
that's what I was able to do, is to drag it up.
okay.
Um, and so, but I will make a note of that, that it shouldn't be, yeah, it shouldn't be disappearing like that.
Okay.
So
So can I ask another quick question here while I've got your
no,
attention?
no,
Okay.
no, you've used up all of your questions. That's it. There is no more questions. That was it. You got one. I'm not a genie. Fire away, Ed. Ask as many questions as you want.
So I put some quotes down here, but I did not have pictures of the people that gave me the quotes.
Okay.
Um, and so I was trying to like expand this, because you see how
Yeah.
this is over here, and I was trying to expand it.
Yeah.
So would that double line bar line do that same thing? Oh, there we go.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, that's really just, that's changing the order, right? So then
Okay.
you're placing it in a different order. It's not changing the
Mm,
size or the layout. So the thing with that one is that it is designed for a picture as well. And so really what you'll would need to do is to copy and paste those into a standard text box. And then
okay.
a standard text box, you're able to make whatever size you want to do. Um,
Perfect.
yeah. So unless you can get photos of the people, or if you think they're going to come at some point, then you
Yeah,
could still keep it this way. But otherwise, yeah, I would just create create another text box block, lay that out exactly how you want, and then just copy and paste all the text in, and then you could remove this block.
got it. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Hmm.
Thank you so much.
That's looking really good though. Ed. Well done.
Thank you. It's taking me way too long to get done. So,
Yeah,
so thank you.
it's always the way. The first one takes the longest.
All
All
right.
right.
The next one is from Sana. She said, I sent a request about getting my event set up. When can I expect it to be ready yet, since I haven't heard anything? Sana,
Hmm.
you might need to reach out to the Leap team. They end up sending it to me. I haven't had one since the beginning of the month that's come through. Um,
A few
so
weeks ago since I did it. I think it's
I
2 weeks ago.
you might need to reach out to them. I don't have access to their system, unfortunately, to be able to pull
Hmm.
it. I'll create it. I just don't have the information. They keep track of all that to mark your accounts with who has it, and then they forward it over to me. Just reach out to the Leap email and ask them, because it might be in their junk or something might have happened to it. But just send them an email over. And if you have, did you get a confirmation email? Sometimes people who submit them get like a confirmation email that it's been submitted. That might have the information that you supplied. So you could probably resend that to them as well if you do have that.
Yeah, I will see.
Make it a little faster.
Yes, I will check.
Yeah. Sorry that that's hasn't happened for you yet. And as soon as we can get it, then we can give you a timeline and try to turn it around as quick as we can for you. So
Yeah, I'll be able to knock it out fairly quickly for you, especially since yours is near the start of December. So I'll make sure it's ready for you for then. But
Sounds great.
they just need
Thank
to
you.
get it over to me,
Yeah,
okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. Um, Andy asked if there is a limitation to the number of tickets and different categories. I was able to add more different tickets, but they are not showing up on the production page.
uh, no, there shouldn't be. There should be no technical limit. It's more just the way it lays out. Um, and then also remembering that you can have hidden tickets. So hidden tickets that can be linked to directly. And so I just double check that they're all set So, go, Andy.
My expectation is that as I'm adding more tickets, the view on the production side is limited to just a few, and it does not expand with it. Do you want me to show you what I'm talking about?
Please. Yeah.
So let's do that. So when I'm here, so I added a few other tickets over here on the purchase page. They are showing up.
Okay.
Everything is here.
I see.
When I go to the preview, on the preview, it is not really scrolling or not expanding. So I think it's just maybe some penalty.
Just have a look. Go back to the editor again.
Okay.
And if you drag that box down, as in make that box bigger.
Oh, okay. So it's a simple just dragging the box bigger. Okay.
Drag that down.
All right.
There you go. Yeah, it's not set to scroll.
Got it.
So you'll want to set that to be the exact height that you want it to be able to show all the options.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And I feel like a dummy right now.
No. And in fact, having it scroll, like it's one of the things that we have talked about is having content scroll automatically if it there we go.
Okay.
If it doesn't fit in. So is that showing them all now?
Yeah, that was it. Okay. Simple. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm glad that I joined the call.
Yeah, there you go. That's what they're for. What these calls are for. And this is the thing is that, we're still sort of trying to get out of beta phase of the marketplace. And so whenever someone asks a question like that, I don't just think that it's your problem, that you haven't done something right. I'm always intrigued because, there could be a little bug there or something. And so, but yeah, ideally it would, if content is not fitting within a box, then it would auto, put a scroll in it. But that has its own challenges in it as well. And so we've defaulted at the moment to not do that and make it that you can set that height exactly the way that you want it. And so I'm glad that that's resolved for you. So
I do have a different question, but
of course,
can I do it? So
yes.
The problem that I noticed, and I think it's not related to Obvio at all, but I think it's some setting on the iPhones. I noticed that when I'm sending the link to some of the iPhones, they getting it's showing that it's not really a correct page. Quite sure it is some kind of cookies on a phone that are preventing it, because after doing it works, but it's been tricky that some iPhones work and some are showing up as a error. So I have no really something that I can put my finger on it. What is the common denominator yet? Another issue that I noticed when you processing the payment from the point of view of somebody that's buying the ticket, and this was probably 2 months ago when I was doing like enrollments and tests. I had somebody telling me that, and I enabled the function for collecting the address or collecting the phone number as well. The problem was that they had to, when they were clicking, same shipping address as the other one, it was not propagating for them. They still had to type that address second time. So this might be something simple, but I'm not sure if it's already fixed. But at this point, it was something that was just bad user experience. Something that could be much more smoother. Was a small nuisance to that person. So that's what I've seen. And since then, I actually turned off all the collecting of the addresses because it was easier. But
right.
I think that there might be some issue. I did not really tested it more with the credit cards, but the experience was that they still had to type address in the both boxes instead of propagating it automatically with the same. So that's the only thing that didn't work for me from that perspective. Yeah. Otherwise, I love the system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've just made a note to double check that. With so the way that the shipping is copied over, it's amazing how many websites we go, just in our normal lives we go to, and we're tipping and we're clicking that, shipping is same address or it's different address or things like that, and getting the right experience, and so once you click it, does the billing address disappear? Is it that the shipping address is different from the billing, or is it that the billing address is different from the shipping? You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing how much of a user experience, you have to work through, and what is the expectation of a user when you click a button. Has that now disabled the form, or is the form still there? And if you enter it, then it changes it. So anyway, I'm not defending it.
No.
I just am. I will look back into it and see whether what it's doing is not what the expectation would be, and that's what we would need to change, because it needs to be super clear. We don't want to. The whole point, the whole point of us doing this, is to make it really easy, the sale process to be really easy, right? And how many times have you been to sites where it's like the price of the product is behind you having to log in, and you've got to put all these details in, and you just leave it. I don't care now. I just want to know the price. So that's one of the things that we think of is when we're doing those sales. Sorry, the other thing. What was the other thing you mentioned about? Oh, yeah. So the iPhone thing. I'd love if you could send any screenshots or anything of that. The thing that comes to mind straight away is sometimes mail programs can truncate the address, like the full address is not there, or it's slightly incorrect, or something's not quite right, and now you're getting an error page, or it's it's going somewhere where this is not right because the full address wasn't there. Not saying that's what it was, but sometimes that happens.
Grant, don't put it as a ticket. I think it's more a phone issue, because I'm telling you, I cannot really replicate this now. On my
Right.
phone, never happened, but it happened on a few people's phones, and I believe that after really clearing the cookies, it was resolved. So it's something that's clogging up the phone itself. Probably not related to Obvio at all, but it's just that experience that was at that time. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I guess you just keep it in the back of your mind that if you start hearing that again, then we'd love to know, because we would hate. So this is the problem, is that you don't get that feedback sometimes, right? People go there, click the link, it doesn't work, they never tell anyone, and we don't know. So yeah,
because that's what most likely happens, right? They cannot click it, and okay, bye. It's gone. So
that's right.
Thank you.
Exactly. Great. Yeah, all the best with that, Andy. That's great. All right. Next question.
Mary wants to know, how can I view those who attended my webinar training event? I can see how many people showed up, but I don't know how to see who those people are.
Yes. Okay. A couple of places. So I'll show you. Let me just get a screen going here where I can show you. Heather, did we resolve that Zoom attendance
Yes.
export?
Yep,
Okay.
it was resolved last night.
Great. So there's a couple of different places that you can get that. Let's talk about kind of stats and exports and things. Let me share right screen here. Look at all these unthankful people that have shown up tonight. That's amazing. You know, not getting food ready. You're working on your business. I'm like, that's commitment. Dior's joining us. He's from from Australia, so we're already not thankful. So I'm a floating head at the moment. I'm going to turn my backlight on and see if it makes it. Oh, it's not focused in the right spot.
Grant, I feel like you're avoiding this question.
I am. I am. Stats question. Lighting is important, Heather. Oh, it's only slightly better.
I'm so sorry.
It's only slightly better because I've had my there's other lights that are not on. You're just gonna have to deal with it, everyone. At least my sound's okay. They're like, what did you say? I can't hear you. It sounds terrible. All right. Getting to the question, Heather. Oh, I need all of that. Let me change this. I'm doing a portion of the screen so that it's not so huge. There we go. All right. So what you were likely getting is when you're going to your attendees and you are going to attendee and export. Get off that screen quickly. What you're getting there is an export that shows when people first went to the dashboard. So you'll get the list of all your attendees, first name, last name, email, the tags, the groups, and a timestamp of when they were checked in, it says. So if you had tech check enabled, as an example, then you would have the process of going through getting to the dashboard. The first time, whichever way you've got it set up, the first time that they hit the dashboard and successfully see the dashboard is the timestamp that will be that checked in time. So you know that they went to the dashboard, but that has nothing to do with whether they actually went into Zoom and attended the event. So then another couple of other things that you can get. Another one is when you're looking at the Zoom area. So this is the event that we're in right now. In here, you can export a log. So there's a few different ways, and I just want to kind of give you an example of all of them. When you do an export, you have a couple of options here. Export detailed log. A detailed log would be every time someone joins and leaves, you'll get a line in the Excel document. So you have one person that came and left 5 times, you'll get 5 lines in the Excel document showing exactly when they came and when they left. An export summary will be 1 line per person that says that they joined 5 times and that they were there for how many minutes, basically. How long were they there for? And so that's what that export does within the Zoom area. Then we have Zoom attendance, which is a newer way of seeing the data. Now, if we were to, let's have a little play with this. This is let me just check here, because this event is not a great event to choose because we've been using it for so long. Let me go out of December. Let's go back to now. These times are always based on the event time zone, the time zone that you set in the event settings. And so that's helpful. It's a reminder to myself because it's always a Wednesday that we do it, and then it starts at 5. This is just me saying, there we go, 5 p.m. In fact, that would work, but we're just going to set it to last week. And this is riveting, isn't it, for you? I still didn't get that right. There we go. That's 7 p.m. All right, I'm happy with that. 20th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. all areas. So now this has gone and got the data for last week's update, a Q&A event that we had. So you can see at each interval here, the interval is that there's basically, it works on there, there's 20 time slots. And so now we're seeing it every 5 minutes. You can see what happened, how many people were in Zoom at the time, and at that point, how many people left, how many people joined. So it's a really handy view to see. Joins and leaves is something that is really helpful. And you start getting into sort of a couple of hundred people where it's hard to track. You know, it's not as obvious to see that you've had people leave or join. This is a great way to see that, and then you can align that with your program and your schedule. You can see, you think about, well, what happened then? I just started talking about this and 5 people left. You know, that type of thing could be very helpful. And so the reason that we have joins and leaves is that you could have 2 people join and 2 people leave at the same time, and your Zoom number would be the same. So that wouldn't give you the whole picture, right? Whereas when you see joins and leaves, you start to see, okay, I had 5 people leave, I had 3 people join. So what was going on, and why do people come late? Or, you know, those sorts of things you can really start to dive into your event and get some interesting data there. But the point to the question was that now obviously you can see these and see the numbers, and you already knew what the numbers were, but you wanted to see who the people were. And so you can absolutely do that. And that's where we choose an area. So this is looking across all areas for your event. Now, this particular event, we only have the main stage open. That's the only thing that's going on at that time. Now we're seeing that. And now we have an option here to export attendees. And same again, we're going to get detailed, which is a line entry for every time they join and left, or a summary. Just tell me exactly how long they were there for. So this, both of those are actually very helpful to have, you know, when you want to dive into the experience of someone's, seeing that they left 5 or 6 times. This is really cool for follow-up as well, right? Because you can follow up with people and say, hey, I've just been looking at some logs and I could see that you joined 10 times. I'm wondering, were you having some tech issues? Can we help you out with getting some access to a recording? Can I get you a ticket to the next event? You know what I mean? Like, all of that stuff can be really valuable. But if we were to look at a summary, and we could deep dive more into this, but I'm conscious that I'm not answering. If I do, I'm not answering the question. So for what you're asking about, I would be saying that you want to just get a summary. I'm going to hit confirm on that, and that's going to generate that report and send an email to me, and I'll open that in a moment. Just while we're here, though, just so you know some of the things that you can do, these attendee actions are really powerful, because what you can do is create a tag or a group based on particular data about the people that were there. So in this example, I could just say attendee on the 20th of November, right? And now that would that's a tag, and it's going to tag everybody that attended on the 20th, because of what my window is that I'm looking at is just the 20th. And so it's going to be 24 people that showed up. I'll confirm this, and bang, it'll create a tag in their attendee record to say that they attended on this day. Well, now you can go to the broadcast as an example, and you could send an email to all those people that attended on the 20th. Or you could send a broadcast to everyone who didn't attend on the 20th, right? Because all of that data is now there. It's very, very powerful. Hey, we could see that you missed the event. You signed up for it. Some people even paid for it, and we see that you didn't show up. We wanted to follow up with you, and you see what I mean? This data is super powerful. So now the other thing in these filters is being able to say, well, what if I want to say that they attended, half of the time, or you can say in minutes, they were there for 10 minutes at least. They were there for, an hour and a half. And now make a tag for people that were there for an hour and a half. Okay, now you've got another thing that you can now send to people to say, hey, we know that you were there. This is the other point, is that, and one of the big reasons that we have this Zoom attendance function is you can get your window right down to when you might have a pitch. You had a pitch during your event, and now you can see exactly who was there for the pitch and who wasn't. I mean, as much as they were connected in Zoom, you don't know that they weren't in the kitchen at the time, but their computer was connected at that time. They were in Zoom, and so you're confident that they were there and saw the pitch. The great thing about that is, in the inverse, you now have all the people that were not there. Hey, we saw that you attended, 2 days, but you missed when we talked about some of our service offerings, and now you can follow up with them, right? Super powerful. Let me have a look at the email. So that was ready, and I can just show you what that looks like. Let me just try to maintain some privacy. All right. So now I'm just looking in Excel, right? So now we can see the people that joined. You'll see that, oops, I should hide their phone number as well. So there's first name, last name, hidden email, hidden phone number. And then you've got their login URL, so that's their unique login URL. And then we'll see the checked in. So that was when they first went to the dashboard. So you look at these, they're in 22, because this event's been going a long time. First time they went to the dashboard was in 22. And then these are all the tags, because we use keep users numbers for tags. And so there's all the millions of different tags that keep users. But this is the key thing here, right, is duration. So that's in hours and minutes and seconds. And so you can see who joined. That's a summary that we're looking at. This was my request to have seconds, because when you have seconds in there now, it's really easy. It's really easy to sort and to see quickly how long they were there for in seconds. And then the joins, how many times did they join? So we've got Jeff that joined for an hour and 14 minutes, and he joined once, right? And then you start to see a couple of people that left. Or me. Yeah, I did. Last week I joined as an attendee because I hit the road. I was mobile. So So that's what you see there. And we've got a potato as a group. For some reason, we have a group called Potato. It's because we're constantly using this event as a test. So that was a bit more of a deep dive into getting attendee data, but that Zoom attendance is really, really powerful. I guess for the sake of what we're doing here, let me just show you quickly what the detailed view would look like. And we'll open that and have a little look. I think you get the idea, but you can have a little look to compare it. While that's coming through, are there any specific questions around Zoom attendance or this sort of thing? No? Yeah, go, Damon.
Sorry, it took a second to unmute. So
No worries.
the time, that duration, that attendance duration, that's cumulative, and there is no delineation of when they dropped on or when they came on or off, other than the number of sessions in that final column, correct?
That's correct. In this view, in this summary view, but what we're going to see is, I'll show you now, the detailed view. So this is a different export. And I'm just hiding, I've just hidden the email address and the phone number columns. And now you're seeing, as my example, before you saw that I joined twice. Now you're seeing that what you see is a join and a left.
Got it.
So you can see exactly, I joined at 5:53 and I left at 6:19, which is a total of 26 minutes. And that's how many seconds.
Yeah, that's powerful. When you map that over the presentation, really that is powerful. Very powerful.
Yep. Yeah,
Thank you.
It really is. And now when you're looking at the individual, you can see exactly when they came and when they left. And so then you can see the gaps and all of that. So same again, it was 8 minutes later. So there's an 8-minute gap there. You can see that I was not joined, and then I joined again for another 12 minutes. So
that's perfect, especially if the CTA is a booked call. That's fantastic because you've got some real empirical data that you can leverage if you need it. That's great. Thank you.
100%. Yep. You're very welcome. So hopefully that kind of answers the question and then some, because it might have shown that there's actually quite powerful data that you can get there. So awesome. Okay.
So the next question is also from Mary. She wants to know how to set up speaker access so that they can be in the Zoom together before letting the participants in.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. Let me show you. I'll share again. So the easiest way to do this is we'll look at the event that we're in now, right? So I've gone to Zoom areas. I'm looking at my main stage area. And then remember that there's always a room within an area. So a Zoom room within an area. When we click on the room number, so now I'm looking at the specific Zoom room. There's a little bit of extra data here that you don't see. This is on an enterprise plan, and so I'm seeing a bit of extra data here. But what you do have is the option here for enabling registration, which is a bad term that we really need to change because it's not really what it really is kind of like a stage door access, right? So when you enable this on the room level, this is the link that you can send to all of your speakers. What happens here is I'm just opening this link, this is what your speaker would get. And they'll simply come to a page that asks for first name, last name, email, and join room. They don't have to go through the dashboard. They don't have to look for anything else. It'll simply, you'll put this in, they'll join, and it'll open Zoom, and they'll be in there. Now, the key thing to remember with this is that this access to that room ignores whether the Zoom area is open or not, right? So this toggle is what allows attendees to get into that area or into that room, right? So if I had this off, attendees will continue to get the offline message, which is this, right? So this is where you can put whatever you want with, where the session starts or the doors will open at X time, whatever it is that you want to put in as your offline text. Okay. Yeah, go Mary.
I have a question too. Like after the event is over and I want the participants to not be able to come back into the room, if I click close or that open area, if I toggle it off, will I still be able to stay in the room with my speakers?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. So it's a couple, and it's a good question. So, in the same way, so when the open area, when the area is closed, as many people as you have in your team that hit join here, they will successfully join, right? And they will join as co-hosts. And anyone that has that kind of stage door link as well, they're also going to come into Zoom. Anyone that's clicking the link on the dashboard, that link is checking whether the area is open, and it won't let them in. It'll take them to the offline page. The offline page sits there and it checks whether the area is open, and it automatically will redirect them to Zoom when it opens. Okay, so this works perfectly for your use case. You want to get a speaker in, you want to get your team in. This is what we do on all our events. We close the area. We 2 hours before, we've got our Zoom going. We're getting everything working, testing. Everyone's all happy. We're getting all of our stakeholders, and everyone's all happy, speakers and everything. And then once we're totally happy, we put some background music on, and we open the area, right? And so then, as you're asking, at the end of the event, you want to do a similar thing. You may be wanting to do a debrief with the team and that sort of thing. You might have to wait until everyone's left. Sometimes that is where we might use the waiting room, the Zoom waiting room, where someone's walked away from their computer, they're not there, they're not, and so, but you want to keep the meeting going because you want to talk. So you've gone ahead and you've toggled the close area, right? So now no new attendees will come in. People don't know their time zones and things, and they're trying to enter. That'll say you can change your offline text to say that the event is now complete, and join us for the next one or whatever it is. So that means no new attendees are joining, and now that couple of people that have fallen asleep, you can hover over their name and put them into the waiting room. So now you're just left with your team and the speakers. Go for as long as you like, right? That's a normal Zoom meeting that continues to go. And then you close that whenever. Now, you can also put on the waiting room, turn on the waiting room in the host tools as far as the Zoom goes, if you really want to be sure that no one, can enter and that sort of thing, because that's another safety net. This is one of the things that we do to separate this just being another boring Zoom business meeting. We've got our own custom offline messages, that's not saying waiting for a host to start meeting, or you're in the waiting room. We've let them know that you're, like we have a nice custom offline message. And you can say whatever you want in that message. So that works really nicely. And then that stage door access, getting people straight into that for your speakers. And that's also handy too, because sometimes your speakers don't need to see your whole dashboard often, right? They don't need access to the resources and they don't need any of that. They're just like, I'm coming for this 30 minutes. And so send me the link that takes me straight there, gets them straight in, and they don't have to worry about finding extra buttons. So that, yeah, so the key thing, just to remind everyone as you're looking at this, you go into Zoom areas. Yes, you're thinking about toggling the area, but when it comes to the actual room itself, the Zoom meeting, you're clicking on that, and that's where you're getting your registration link to be able to get people in directly to that Zoom meeting. We realize that we have a couple of extra levels of complexity, and really what it is because we can scale, right? All of this system is designed to scale beyond 1,000 people, or 500-600 people that you might have. You want to put them into multiple rooms. You want to have a VIP room. You want to, there's lots of those different things. Is the reason that we have these extra areas, which is a group of rooms. And so then that the room details there. The thing to remember here is that opening a room is actually about getting Zoom going. It's not so much about whether getting attendees to access it or not. If you want to control how attendees access that meeting, that room, you're doing that at the area level. So we're thinking of area and now open area, close area. I probably made that more confusing in trying to explain it more, but the point is that the good thing is that this is recorded and you could go back over that if you're needing to just be clear. So yeah, I stream these to YouTube just for the reason to have them available for easy access afterwards, right? And you can find all of these recordings on the same link that you came to enter this meeting. There's a playlist there, and it will show. In fact, if I show you here, I'm already sharing. When you go to the dashboard, you'll see that. So that happens to even be this meeting that's happening right now, because I added it to the playlist. If you click here, you'll see all of the, if you're having trouble sleeping, you can just open one of these and listen to me wobble on about areas and rooms, and you'll be asleep in no time. All right, does that help, Mary? That answers all of that. Sweet. Good work. All the best with that. All right. Heather?
Yes, so we have a question that says, do you have any tips for using attendee labels during virtual events? We use them to identify speakers, sponsors, and ticket tiers, but some attendees fit into multiple categories and need more than one label. When we apply multiple labels, they don't always work out properly because of how Obvio prioritizes them based in the order. To avoid this issue, we now assign only one label per person. Our main goal is to make speakers easy to spot at the top of the Zoom participants list, so we can quickly spotlight them when it's their turn to speak. Are there any suggestions?
Great question. So who was this? Who's the question from?
Ayla?
It's me.
It's from Ayla. She's here. She's here.
Yes.
Oh, yes. There we go. Okay, great.
Oh.
Great question, and awesome that you're using that feature to that extent, because yeah, we use it extensively on lots of different events, and you've totally identified the limitation, I guess, and that is that each attendee can have one label. So now they can only have one label, but that doesn't mean that your labels can't be, you can't have multiple labels that you build into the process of creating labels. Do you know what I mean? So let's say that, let's say you want to say that all these people have their favorite color is red, and also their favorite food is spaghetti. So now you create a label that says that if group color is red, then do a red emoji or whatever it is. If favorite food is spaghetti, do a spaghetti emoji. There is no spaghetti emoji, I don't think. And then you're now saying if their favorite color is red and their favorite food is spaghetti, do the 2 emojis in the label, right? So it creates a quite a complicated setup because you have to explicitly say each one of the conditions, and it's the multiple conditions that you're putting in. So now we've got 3 conditions that we've just set that ends up creating a label that might have multiple emojis or multiple names or things like that, so that you can only apply one label. That's the key thing to remember. If I can only apply one label, what is that going to be when someone they meet multiple conditions? Well, I need to create that single label that has the multiple conditions kind of applied to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get it. Can I share my screen if that's okay?
Of course.
Just wanted to
Please.
show our setup.
Yeah.
I hope this works. Is that showing?
It's coming. It's just going across the ocean at the moment to get to me. There
Can
we
you
go.
see it?
Yep,
So
got it.
this was
Okay.
before.
Okay.
So the issue is some of our attendees are also speakers and sponsors. And so what happens is that if they are both speakers and sponsors, we try to apply the most important ones at the top, of course. But then what happens is they are now spoiled and they want all of the labels to apply, but in some cases it doesn't really work. And so what we're doing now, we veered away from this from this setup where there's 2 or more, because of course it also adds up to their names. Plus people keep asking us, where's my label, where's my star, where's my sun, where's my heart? And so because if they apply for if the attendee has more than one, we are now just using one. I was just thinking there might be another way, even if this is what we're using, is to just have the people or the speakers at the top, if there's a way for Zoom to do that.
Yeah. So what you were doing was exactly right. It's just getting the priority correct. So the priority is the key because it's going to do now I'm second guessing myself about the first one that it equals, in that the first one that is true is what the label that they will get. And I think that's the experience that you were getting, correct? Where they were getting the first one, but then you had some more options further down and they won't get that because they've already got a label. And so you have to rearrange the priority to be the most complex to the most general at the bottom. So the most complex being that there was 3 emojis. If they are, A equals 1 and B equals 1 and C equals 1, then give them these 3 emojis. And then if A equals 1 and B equals 1, but C doesn't equal 1, then you give them these 2 emojis, right? And so it's putting it around so that the first label that they get is the most complex, and until it's working its way down until it's just getting the general. So you're doing exactly the right thing. You've just got to get the priority right so that the first label that they get is the biggest one, so that then they've got the 3 emojis or whatever it is. As far as it works, and I'm sure you're very well aware of this, in Zoom, the search function works great. And so being able to search your attendee list for that one emoji is going to show you all the speakers, whether that is in a group of emojis or it's their only emoji. If they're the speaker equals star, you search for star. Now you're getting all the speakers, whether they have extra things in that or not, because it's showing that they have star in their name, in their label. Does that make sense?
Okay. I like that idea of searching through the labels. Thank you.
Yeah. So now you're just in the participants tab, and you can see that now, even as an attendee, you've got a search bar right at the top. You can put whatever you want in there, and now it's going to filter that whole the whole participants list and show you only the people with that. So you're totally doing everything right. What I will tell you is that changing labels can be a little bit tricky in the way that peeking behind the curtain of how Obvio is working with Zoom is that we're doing a registration with Zoom, right? So Obvio is managing all that. Now, when it registers with Zoom for that Zoom meeting, it's creating the first name and the last name and the label, putting that all in. And now that's the link that the attendee is effectively clicking when they click on the dashboard. It's taking them through a registration link, checking that they're the right person, doing all of that, and then puts them in Zoom, and that's the name that they get. Now, if you change labels, we have tried as much as we can to regenerate that registration. But sometimes there's some caching that happens. And so in your testing, it can be tricky sometimes because it's holding on to that previous registration. So you feel like you've fixed a label error that you might have had, but yet when they go in, it's still the same. And you're seeing the people with the labels in an old way that you had it set, right? And that's when you start to question yourself and you start pulling your hair out because you think, I'm sure I fixed this. So I can't stress enough that testing well before your event, creating a bunch of test attendees, and when this can be a little bit annoying, but you'll know for sure that you're right, is that when you change something and you're still testing those labels, just create new attendees, right? Like create some new test attendees that have never had labels before. And now when you test it, you're going to be sure that that's exactly right because of the process. It's not holding on to any past labels and registration links and things. So it's a beautiful thing once you've got it set up, well before your event and you can trust it. And so you've got a complex labeling system there, but once you get that right, you'll be so happy that you have, because it's super powerful when you're in Zoom and you can identify people very easily just by their emojis. And so for some of you that are thinking, why would I want this apart from speakers is a great use case. We've used it for some big scale events where they've wanted to know income bracket, right? So based on these different emojis, all the speakers and the team know the income bracket of the attendee just based on what the emoji is at the end of the name, right? Super powerful. The other thing we've used is it's not just adding emojis. You can append a group text. So if your registration data has, for example, the state and country that they're from, you can append that to their name in Zoom, and now you can see exactly where people are from. That's also really powerful, right? So you can append a whole group text. I've also done it for some medical events where we wanted to know the title of the people. So we had professors and we had registrars, and we had, like we had trainees. And so now when someone's asking a question, we knew, whether if it's a professor that's asking the question, then they take it in a different way than a student is asking the question. Ooh, really, really powerful when you're sitting in, and that works. That type of thing scales. You can have a group of 20 people in your event, and that's handy. And you can have 5,000 people, and that's still a really handy thing, which is why we have labels. We used to call them appendages, but I think labels is a nicer term. As much as appendage is accurate, label is a nicer term. All right, that was a good deep dive into labels.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else, Ayla? That's great. Awesome work on that. That's really cool. I love when I see people that have really not just dabbling with it, but have really like dived into it and building it out extensively. It's really cool. Okay.
The next one is from Damon. I believe this is a follow-up from the marketplace that we were talking about earlier, but he had a question about hidden tickets. If you can expand on the concept to explain what those actually are and the best way to use them.
Yeah. So I think of it like a discount code without having to put the discount code in, right? So follow this link. It's going to take you straight to the page with this special offer selected for you immediately, right?
Simple.
So now, yeah. And so now there's a group of people that you want to send it to, alumni, for example. Okay, you get a special rate. You want to come back, you get 50% off. This is the ticket, and use this link, and that'll take you straight there and give you 50% off. So you hide it, and then you give the link to that page with that ticket selected, and that's what you send out to the people. That makes sense.
Okay. Just what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
The next one is from Ayla again. She wants to know if there's a way to make the logo image on the login and forgot password page bigger. They use a 1920 by 1080 pixel.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to show me, Ayla, and then I can see which theme you're using as well? Cool. Okay, yeah, on the lefty. So then if you go to the login page, or the design and then login, probably, right? Is that where you are? Yeah. I see. Yeah. So we've had a few people try to use that for different things. So the way that it's been designed, for the use case, is a simple logo that sits on the top, so that it sits in that area, and then any extra text really would want that to be text itself, like where the welcome is, and so more text can go in there, right? And that extra detail can go in there. So yeah, it's that type of thing. And so then I would argue that if you're needing to tell people about the event more when they're getting to this page, then perhaps you need a separate page that they go to before they come to this one. So the purpose of this login page is really just to get them to log in, to put their email in and go. So the assumption is they already know all about the event. They don't need all the extra detail because they know what they're coming to. If they don't know that, then perhaps this is not the page that they should be coming to first, and that all that extra detail should be on some other type of splash page or something that you have on a site or something, and that's the primary page they come to. That's the link that you send to everyone, and then on that page has all the detail that you want laid out and everything, and then it's a login button or a join here or whatever. You click that and it comes to this login page, and it's clean, and it just has the logo, maybe the date and whatever in that top part, and then that's where it goes. So you can change the background as well, which you saw as well, and I can see you've got that background in there. It's a slightly textured background, yeah. And some people have tried to put text in there as well, and you can, except that whole page is responsive, and the way that it will resize for different mobile or tablets or big screens or things, it will change. And it's designed to be like a texture, like you have, not to have text. As soon as you put text in it, then it will it could be cut off and that sort of thing. And so that was our design, a more abstract kind of background, and then a really clear logo, and then using text as about the event. So it's a very straightforward functional page, which is about logging in or signing up. That's the same type of thing.
Okay, so
and yep, go ahead.
We might just use a different logo, because if this only applies to the sign up and forgot password, then we'll just use a different logo here without any text, so it's really don't have to squint to read.
Exactly.
And then just add the event title here, or maybe also add a textured, like little text of or maybe just a logo of our events, like a gift wrapper thing.
That's right. Yes.
That.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we might
Yeah.
just use that.
A repeat banner, or that type of idea. Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. So that was a long way around saying that we can't make the logo bigger than what it is now, but trying to understand what the rationale is behind the reason that we've designed it this way, because it will also change when it's on mobile too, right? So when it's on a smaller screen, the logo pops to the top, and so when you understand that a nice little square or a circle logo is really what works best, then if you need more than that, then doing something else before they get there would be the way to go. So yeah,
that's good. Nice tip. Thank you.
Awesome. Great work.
Okay. Marla said that she has a question about using Obvio for her 3-day event for a number of bonus workshops that I'm including with the ticket to the event. Is it best to create an Obvio event for the 3-day and a separate events for each of the workshops, or would it be best to include them all in one Obvio event with tags?
Cool. Who was that? Sorry, didn't.
Marla. That was
Marla.
me.
Hey, Marla.
Hi.
Nice. Okay, so if we think about the advantages and disadvantages, right? So attendee data is a key part. So and then the dashboard experience. There's really ways of doing both successfully. What we're thinking about is, so am I understanding correctly that there's a 3-day event and then a workshop post 3-day event?
So there's in what it's designed for right now is a 3-day event, and then pre-workshops to kind of warm up the audience so that when they buy the ticket to the 3-day, they're getting the bonus workshops. And there's right now definitely 2, but maybe 3. Like I have 3 different workshops I'm thinking of doing. And I'm wondering, does each workshop have its own event in Obvio? And then the 3-day has another event? Or
yeah. So it's before though, right? I'm just getting that
the
order
3 are
right. So
before.
the workshops before, and then the 3-day. Okay. So
And in case it makes a difference, the workshops are actually things that I may post at a later date.
Okay, I see. Yeah, okay. So it makes a difference. Without explanation, I would say separate is the way to go. Separate, as in separate 3-day event for sure. Separate workshops could potentially be one event for all workshops, right? So you create a single Obvio event that handles all of your workshops. And you can still distinguish, as we went through. Did you were on the call when I did the Zoom attendance thing? Yeah. So you can still distinguish who came on what at which workshop. And it could be, it is the idea that people would attend multiple workshops or they're the same, that they would. Okay. So that can be really helpful too, right? To have that in a single event and do an export of and see the journey of a person where they went to the first workshop, they skipped the second one, they came to the third one. Things like that can be very helpful. So that's what I think you would do. There, we can talk through a little bit about how it could be one event, and now you're able to see all of that data all in that one event, and that they're using the same link, no matter whether it's the 3-day event or whether it's the workshop. They're clicking on that same link and it's taking them to that one place. So there's a bit of an advantage there, but it depends on what process you want people to go through.
So
and if you want to manage that a bit.
I think what makes sense is, and what I was thinking in my head, I just want to run it by you, is having the 3-day have its own event.
Yep.
And then
you're right.
As I'm offering a series of workshops, either warming people up for the event or later after the fact, like any workshop that I offer could essentially be under this same one event link, like Marla's workshops or something.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. That's pretty much what you'd recommend?
Yes, it is. And the reason is too that from the dashboard, the way that you design the dashboard, it's unlikely that it's all the same content that you have at your 3-day event as you do for the workshops, right? Like you want to customize those for the experience that people are having. And while you can filter all of that, it would be unnecessary. And so having it as distinct events, I think will serve you better. And then you can always move attendee data, export from one and import to another and things like that, if you want to do that. Okay. But yeah, I think you keep them as separate, but that the workshops, as you said, could just be one event for all workshops.
And then within that one event, would you then use tags to say, like, this person came to the workshop about anxiety management strategies, this person came around communication, this one came to the digital vision board? Like, I could tag them within that one event to know who came.
You absolutely can. Yeah. And this is where you start getting into a place of I can use a hammer to put the nail in. I can also use a wrench. I can bang the wrench on the nail and it is going to go in. And so my point is that it's always worth just thinking, how does this scale, right? Because if it works big, it works small.
Okay.
So where would I like this to be? What are the tools? Using a hammer is the right tool to use. Should I just be getting the hammer and using that now, right? And so in what you're just talking about there, you're starting to is thinking about CRM, really, right? Customer relationship management, right? Because you're thinking about what's the whole journey of the people on your list,
Right.
and that extends beyond Obvio. Do you have a CRM that you're using at all?
Yeah, I use High Level.
Okay. So you might be able to be thinking about how you're storing data in High Level.
Yes, I have the integration.
That's great. Yep. And so, yeah, that's awesome. And that scales, right? So it's exactly to my point, is now that scales as big as you want it to go. It also means that what I'm getting at is will it work better for you to create individual events for each one of those workshops, rather than just one event? And that doesn't have to be a difficult process, right? Because you can always duplicate. You can duplicate events.
Okay.
And now you can customize that so that now you're talking about your anxiety-based event, and then you've got your digital event. And so now you can have those as distinct events, and you could reuse them each time you do that workshop.
That's what I was
right?
thinking. Okay.
Yeah,
So maybe
100%.
then with you talking it through, this is so helpful. It may then make sense if I'm going to rinse and repeat these workshops to do my say this, not that, the communication workshop as a one event, the anxiety management as another one, vision boarding as another one. And then I can just make it kind of an evergreen event that I'm duplicating and using them. Okay.
100%. Yep. Yeah. And you can always you can always remove attendees as well, as in you can clear all attendees.
Okay.
Right. Or you can just keep that as an archive of that instance of that event, right? You have unlimited events, right? So it doesn't matter if you want to just go, okay, now I'm recreating this one for this week, and then I'm recreating it again for a month's time.
Okay.
And now they're always like these, this little, a little capsule, a little time capsule of what happened for that event, right? And now you roll into your next one. So that's an appropriate way of doing it too.
Okay. And then for an attendee, like low friction getting them in, what I've been using is the trigger links in my email, or the links in my email, like using their unique Obvio link. So it almost doesn't matter if they're in 3 different dashboards, they can just click from the email and they're right in.
100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing that exactly right. And it makes, the only difference it makes is if people are using an old email, right? Like they're pulling up a wrong email, because they've searched for Marla, they've pulled up the wrong one from the previous workshop or whatever. They go to enter that and it's the wrong one. Now, the way to avoid that is just really good communication, right? And a good plan. And that's where you're sending, hey, we're 24 hours out, and then we're an hour out, and the event started, or whatever you want to do. But the more that you have sitting at the top of their inbox, the less likely they are to go hunting and find a wrong email and go to the wrong event. Right. So, and once you've set all that up and you've set it all up once, when you duplicate your event, you're also duplicating all of the broadcasts. Oh, sorry, that's if you're doing the broadcast through Obvio, but also in High Level, you can just copy all of your communications, right? And have that the same sort of workflow that goes for each event. So it sounds like a little bit of extra overhead to have individual events, but it's much clearer for you. I think, that it's just, it's these distinct events, and you have the same process that you send out for everyone.
Okay. And you would say the same is true if I'm hosting like a webinar, have the webinar one, or a challenge, have the challenge one. Just okay. Perfect.
Yeah. And I think because the dashboard is going to be really different for each time too, right?
Yeah.
And so you want that to be the case, so that when it's a big distinctive of Obvio, that you're bringing someone to a dashboard, which is the home of the event. It's everything that you need to know about what's happening today or for these 3 days. Here's any resources that you need. Here's a recap video of some things that you might want to, know before, it's helpful to know, all of that sort of stuff. It's like, okay, bang, this is really the key home for it. And so when they're super keen and they're looking at it 3 hours before the event starts, they've got something to look at that's based on exactly what the event is about, that moment. And so now you're really making that clear. So the journey of doing a webinar and then going to a workshop and then going to the 3-day event, while it all has this same kind of look and feel, it's really distinct as to what they're doing, and they're getting more and more on side with you.
Okay, so this was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
The key is you're asking all the right questions, right? This is the thing, is you when you ask the right questions, it's half the battle. So
thank you.
You're welcome. All the best with that. It sounds awesome. This is what's amazing. It was like often we're not hearing what people are using Obvio for, and then just in passing we hear about this amazing content. It's just like Amy talking about animal chiropractic, and I'm just like, what is that? That sounds amazing, and then we have someone doing all these cooking classes and stuff, and then hearing about anxiety and stuff. I was like, oh, this sounds really cool, so it's very exciting to know what the platform's being used for. Sweet. Heather?
All right. Ed wants to know, for Marketplace, do you use the billing address to send swag, or would you ask for a shipping address as well? Or is there a way to ask for the shipping address as well?
Yeah, so we were mentioning that before, that yes, there is in the Marketplace, there's a process to ask for the address. And so if you don't need people's addresses, then don't ask for it, right? Like, as in, don't enable that. And lots of people don't need the address because they're not sending them swag, or they're not sending them anything. And so it's like, don't make people put in a bunch of data that you're not going to use, particularly, from a privacy point of view. You just don't need it. However, if you intend to send swag, then yes, you're enabling the address, and then the option will be there for them to enter, billing address and the shipping address. And so you want to make it clear that you will be sending something, and so please provide the correct shipping address, so that you can send them something. Does that make sense? I can't remember who it was. I'm having a hard time remembering who's asking the questions.
It was
that was me again, Grant.
Okay, cool, Ed. No worries. Yeah, and look, swag is an amazing thing to do for events. Like, you hear Blue and Barry bang on about it, to the point where they're spending more than they're getting they spend more on the swag box and the sending of it than they do in the cost of the ticket, right? And so it's this massive investment, and it's just a really cool thing, people to receive something physically. It reminds them of the event. It gets them more excited about it. It's sitting on their kitchen bench or their desk, and it reminds them, oh yeah, that's coming up, I can't wait. Some people do like a flat pack as well, and that can work really well. A nice letter and maybe a door handle or something that says, do not disturb, those sorts of things. Little emoji sticks. I mean, these are all like little fads and little gimmicks and things that people have used for events, but they work impressively well. Like, having physical emojis that people hold up, is super cool. And when they're all the same. Now, look, people have done that where they print them as well. And so you can create a really cool PDF, have it on the dashboard, get people to download it, print it, stick it to a pencil, and now they've got their own physical emoji that they can flash up in front of their camera. It works really, really well. It works better than them clicking on buttons, because it gets them physically moving and people see it, and there's instant interaction, that sort of stuff. So that's really cool. If you do send it to them, that's even better. So anyway, the point is, swag's very cool. It's definitely worth sending something, but yes, you will need to ask. You need to enable the ask for address, and you need to and it needs to be really clear that it's a shipping address, not a billing address. The billing address is used for the credit card as well, right? So, and that's where the difference is. So Stripe is going to be looking at the billing address, and then you want to look at the shipping address for what you're sending when you're sending the swag.
So where's the button to ask to put that on?
Yep.
Because my purchase page has the billing address, but I'm trying to figure out how to add the shipping address as well.
Yeah. Let me get it here. Just get the right spot here.
I think it's selectable by ticket, if I'm not wrong, on the actual ticket page.
Yeah. Thank you, Muddy.
Ah.
I think you're right. Let's see.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it now.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
You're exactly right. Thank you. Yeah. So there you go. And that's the thing with the some tickets. You know, you might have a cheaper ticket. You might have a ticket that once you get closer to the event, it's too late to send them a swag box, and so then you would change that ticket. So now you're not asking for the shipping address because it's clear that you wouldn't be using that. So yeah, cool.
All right. Samantha had a question. She said that she plans on selling tickets through Kajabi and then uploading attendees into Obvio. It looks fairly straightforward, but I've been duped before by thinking something would be simple. Is there anything I should be aware of when adding attendees manually?
Can you just repeat that? Make sure that I'm getting that right.
Yeah. So she's going to sell tickets through Kajabi, manually
Yep.
upload attendees. So she just wants to know if there's anything that she should be aware of when adding the attendees manually. So
manually. So once they've been sold through Kajabi, manually uploading them to Obvio. Is that right? Okay. Yep. Okay. There's nothing too much to be concerned about. You just got to think about what your process is for sending out the login link. And so in that process, you would likely use Obvio to send the email out. That would be the best way to do it. So once you've imported your attendees, and now you send a broadcast from Obvio that gives them their login link. So now they're not having to use passwords or anything like that. And then your only other thing there is the last minute sales that you might want to manage, right? And that's a little bit tricky. Now, what we have with in the broadcasts, I'll just show you this to have a think about. So we have normal broadcasts that you would set up and schedule and have them sent out. Are you familiar with the way that works, the broadcasts?
Yeah, hi, thank you. I'm familiar with it in other platforms, and I've received a bunch of them from y'all, so I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
It's relatively straightforward as to how to set that up to send it through, and then there's the variables or the merge fields. One of those is login URL, and you send them the login URL, and away that goes. The thing that I just wanted to make you aware of is these are all for scheduled into the future, right? So at least 5 minutes into the future, you're setting that up, and you can set them up weeks in advance. The key one that could be helpful for you is the welcome email. the welcome email is sent when an attendee is created. It doesn't matter how they're created. They could be imported by CSV. You could manually enter them into Obvio. It could be an integration with another service that's connected and creating it automatically. However that attendee is created, if this is enabled, then as soon as an attendee is created, they get sent this email. And that's really handy, especially day of sales, right? So day of happens, you get a sale that comes through, and now all you need to do is just quickly add them to Obvio, first name, last name, email, and bang, they'll get a welcome email that says, here's your login URL for the event.
Perfect.
And you could have a team member that just manages that for you, right? Like they're just looking to see if sales happen.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
You can create a link from Kajabi to Obvio through Zapier.
Okay.
So it's possible to set that up, and this often depends on how many people you're expecting, that sort of thing, and that you want to automate a process. I feel like it's worth people always thinking of these automated processes as semi-automatic, and that you always want to just be double checking and keeping an eye on them and making sure everything's all working. But the concept is that Kajabi would have a trigger in Zapier when a new person, when a tag is added, or when whatever it is. There's a number of different triggers that you could have, that this person something has happened in Kajabi, a purchase has been made, or whatever it is. That sends a zap to Zapier with first name, last name, email of that person. That gets sent to Obvio. Obvio creates the attendee and sends back the login URL. The login URL comes back to Zapier. Zapier then takes that data and pushes it into Kajabi, and updates that record now with a custom field that is login URL, Obvio login URL. And now you can send all of your emails through Kajabi, and this is now your login. So that's what can happen. And all of these direct integrations that you can see are just doing that all without Zapier, but it's exactly the same process. Something happens on the thing, it sends the data through to Obvio. Obvio sends back a URL, stores it there, and now that's where the main reason is, that's where all of your communication, you want to send your communications from that CRM, and so it's totally doable. There are other ways. We prefer the login URL, kind of magic link that just takes people straight in. They don't have to enter anything. It brings them in as them. But you can do it where you can set up where they just have to enter their email into Obvio. Everyone gets sent the same link, and then they just have to enter their email, and now they get joined to the event.
Okay.
So that's a possibility
Yeah.
that can save you. I mean, you still need to create the user, the attendee in Obvio. And then the other thought too is that if it's when you're doing particularly free events, there's an Obvio sign up page that you can have anyone go to, right? And they just have to enter this first name, last name, email, and bang, they are automatically created in Obvio, and now they're into your event.
Oh, okay. So I do plan to do these panels, and I would do that as a free, but I definitely want to get people's emails. So then I would have their data, although they get to be free. Oh, okay. So that's down the road, but this is perfect for this one, because I'm doing my first one. I just want to bang it out, get it done,
Yeah.
fall down,
Learn a
get
bunch
back
of
up,
things.
fall down.
Yeah.
And then I'll do my
That's
real
great.
one in January. So perfect. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. There's so many different ways of doing it, but I think you're totally on the right track with just saying, I'm just going to do it manually to start with, and then, automation can come later as the whole thing scales. So that's great. All the best with that. Cool. What else we got, Heather?
That is all that has come through. We had another one, but she had to leave earlier, and she said just to address it on the next call.
Okay.
It was more of a tech question, so it would be best if she was here for that.
Yep. Sounds good. Cool. That was some great questions. It was an hour and a half solid questions there. Are there anything else? Is there anything else that people were thinking of? Otherwise, you may get an early minute for Thanksgiving.
I would say that's a happy Thanksgiving and it's a wrap, right?
Thanks. I've got an announcer now for this. It's coming on and giving the wrap for the end. We've been using Obvio 3 years now. It's amazing. Attendees love the platform. There you go. So good. Thank you, Ayla. Sweet. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I was having a
Happy
little look trying to
Thanksgiving.
see.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Grant.
you. Bye-bye. You're welcome. I'm glad we did it tonight. All right. You can join us next week. We'll do it all then. Thank you, Heather. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.